Afternoon, Roy. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Guy. Yourself?
Yeah, it's good. Nice to see you back in management. The last time I spoke to you, the day we're leaving Palace, so nice to see you back.
Thank you.
Roy, just if I could start with what it means for you and the team, that clean sheet at the weekend. Can you? It doesn't just happen. What have you been able to do in the very, very short time you've had on the training pitch, and how does that maybe bode going forward?
Well, it was a positive. There's no doubt about that. And to get a point away from home at a difficult venue like Burnley has got to be seen as a step in the right direction for us. I think it was important after having the 7 or 8 days working with the players and trying to sort of establish a relationship with them and get them perhaps to understand some of the principles that we think are going to be important going forward. It was really nice to see that they could take that into the game and it produced the result. So I must say there are literally no negatives from that game as such, but of course it's a very small step along the way.
17 league games left. What are you hoping maybe that you can see in the work? You say no negatives there, the work in the short term and the medium term, that come 17 games are up, that you're still in the Premier League. What are you looking to see in the coming days and weeks?
Well, basically the same as all the other managers in the league, really. Whatever position you're in and whatever goal, if you like, you're fighting to achieve, nothing really changes. You need good performances, and to get good performances, you need to perform well at both ends of the field. So all we can do, I think, is to try and use the time we have at our disposal here on the training ground to keep working with the players, to keep trying to encourage them to A, believe in themselves, and B, to try and stick to some of the principles which we think could help us to stay in the league. And then you're going to need that large portion of luck that all teams need, especially in relegation battles, that when the ball's bouncing in one direction, off the post and out, or off the post and in, you hope it's going to be the one that you want to see.
Roy, for this upcoming game, what's the situation with regards to injuries and also availability? You had some new faces playing the weekend. So two-part question, really, sort of injuries and availability. And also, I think Samuel Kalu as well, another signing late in the window. Is he available?
Yes, he was available for the last game as well. One of our problems for Ray and myself is getting to know the players and getting to see enough of them, if you like, and to decide what role they could play and what help they could give us. But the injury situation is really very good. They've done a fantastic job here. So we have a really large complement of players available, and the only ones that are definitely not available are Nkulu, who's obviously still not fit. The goalkeeper, Rob Elliott, is still nursing a small injury, and in particular, Ismail Assar played last night in the AFCON, and we don't know as yet what time he'll be returning. I think our sporting director's in contact, of course, with them, so I haven't had a chance to speak to him this morning yet. I hope he'll have some good news for me when I do.
Actually, Roy, I was going to ask you about Ismail sort of a bit late, but now you brought it up. Just listen, I'm sure you want him back now, but in terms of his achievement, I don't know what if the club has been able to speak to him, but the achievement for him and maybe how that momentum, that confidence, that happiness can be infectious sometimes.
Well, we hope so. I mean, it's a very great achievement, and for Senegal to win the tournament for the first time, I was really happy for him, happy for Senegal, happy for another ex-player of mine, Cheikhou Kouyaté. It was great to see them win, but now we do badly need him back with us to help us win. So I'm hoping that they'll get him back, or be able to get him back as soon as possible, because the earlier we can count on him playing in our team, the better.
Realistically, for Ishmael, the weekend Brighton game, is that possibility?
Well, he's fit, so there won't be any problems in terms of his fitness, and luckily it seems he's recovered from the injury. He's played quite a lot in the last 2 or 3 games, so if he is back in time and has sort of recovered from any travel backlog, then I'm hoping we'll be able to use him.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Can you come in?
Is it?
Hi, Roy.
Is it?
Hi, Roy. Good afternoon.
He was great. He was selling a great.
Was it? Okay, good. Sorry, where are we?
It's Niv now for Premier League Productions.
Okay, good.
Hi, Roy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi. I was wondering, from the short period of time you've been working with the players, what has the spirit been like?
Good, very good. It's too simple to suggest that when a team is losing some games, it's all down to the spirit, or it's down to a lack of fitness, or it's down to a lack of desire. That's really a lazy way quite often of trying to get to the bottom of why things aren't going as you want them to go. So I must say, when I came in just under 2 weeks ago, or basically 2 weeks ago now, I didn't find right from the offset that the spirit was a major problem. The players definitely want to do what's necessary. They are all desperate to stay in the league, and I think they all understand that to do that, they've got a big task ahead of them.
You managed against David Moyes many times in your career. What did you make of the West Ham season so far?
It's been excellent. Been excellent. I'm not at all surprised. I know the way that David works. I know a lot of members of his staff, and I know how they'll be working very hard every day to make certain the players understand their roles and, you know, play together in the right way. And he'll be making the right sort of demands upon them. He just happens to be a very good manager, and he's now found himself a club that is taking full advantage of his management skills.
And getting that clean sheet away at Burnley, how significant is it for the confidence of the team?
Well, it certainly was better than conceding, because that might have had us losing the game. The point was important because it was difficult circumstances, atrocious weather conditions, and of course a game which was a real dog fight at the bottom of the league, with both teams really needing to try and get points from each other. So in that respect, everything in relation to the game was positive, and the clean sheet is something which has been talked about a lot. So it's good when you then get that clean sheet, because it maybe quietens things down for a little while, but we don't need one clean sheet. We need lots of them, and allied to the clean sheet, we need to score goals.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, Simon Stone.
Hi, Roy. Hope you're
Simon?
okay. How important is it to build on Saturday, or do you have to take each game obviously as it comes? If you can get 2 games or 3 games where things going your way, then you get the momentum. Is that what you need, or do you just have to draw a line under one game and move on to the next?
Well, it's what every team needs. That's the problem. It's a universal truth. The more momentum you can build, the easier life becomes for you. But you can't guarantee it, because you can't be certain you can get those successive games where you either win or get a good draw, which keep that momentum going. I think for us, it's got to be a question of making certain that every time we go on the field, that the players are fully prepared and they really know what their job is that day, and you know what they've really got to do if there's going to be any chance of us getting a result from the game. And then it'll be a question of resilience, because you know it'll be great if we win or get the result we want, because that will keep the momentum going, as you rightly say, and that will you know be building confidence and helping in every aspect of the game. But you can't guarantee it, so you'll need resilience too, because games can go against you, and then you must make certain that any good work that's being done at the club by the players isn't lost simply because a result has gone the wrong way for you.
And what kind of a manager are you in this situation? Do you look at all the games and look at the table and see where you could be if you win, or do you just ignore all that?
Well, you can't ignore it. That would be foolish to say that that's what one does, but it mustn't be a focal point, and it mustn't in any way distract from the main job you have as manager and coach. That is, you know, making certain the players are ready, and making sure that when they go on the field, they leave nothing behind, if you like, and they've given themselves every chance of getting the result you want. So one is aware, of course, one can dream of a run of 17 successive victories, but we're not going to get that. So along the way, we're going to need some resilience when things go against us.
And just finally, on a different note, it's been announced today that the FA are not going to try and get the World Cup in 2030 and instead will go for the Euros in 2028. What do you think about that in terms of English football and whether we can host a World Cup?
Well, we know we can because, we hosted the last Euros basically because all the important games were at Wembley. And we know that we have the infrastructure here, we have the IT capacity, we have the transport, we have everything really needed for a country to host a World Cup. But hosting the Euros is a very, very important occasion as well. So I'm not been party to the discussions they've obviously had with other countries, with FIFA, with UEFA. So I don't know what has brought them to the decision that better that we go for the 28 Euros rather than the 30 World Cup. So I'm afraid I can't shed any light onto that matter, but it would be great if we get the 28 one, and if backing away from the 1930 World Cup makes it much more possible for us to get the Euros in 2028, then I should be more than happy with that. This time I'm here to see it.
Thank you very much.
Ian?
Roy, how are you? It's great to see you back in football, my friend.
Thank you, Ian.
The clean sheet against the scoring goals. Watford's clean sheet of the weekend was their first for an awful long time in the Premier League, stretching back to the last time they were in the division. But at what point this season are you going to have to sort of go, right, I've got to score goals rather than keep clean sheets?
Well, it's not really an option. It's not a question of either or. We've got to do both. But we do believe here that there are players in the squad that we're going to use and try to use to the best of their ability too, which can get us goals. There's no doubt about that. But we've got to make certain that it's not at the detriment of leaking a lot of goals at the other end. So it's not a question of either or. We've got to work hard to defend when we don't have the ball. But then when we get the ball, our passing's got to be good, our movement's got to be good. And then we've got to hope that the players that we know are proven goal scorers will continue to be proven goal scorers.
On Saturday, West Ham were very, everyone admits, very, very lucky to beat Kidderminster in the Cup. Is that a bad result for you? Because David Moyes will probably not have accepted that performance and will want a whole lot better against you on Tuesday.
Well, I think David Moyes prepares his teams in the way that we try to prepare our team. I don't think he'll ever settle for less than what he considers to be the norm in terms of performance, just in the same way that we want. So I don't really think it's going to make a vast difference in any way other than his Saturday night must have been, was it Saturday? Yes, it was. His Saturday night must have been a lot more comfortable when those two late goals went in than it would have been had he been thinking about the training next day and having to lift the players after a defeat against Kidderminster. All credit to them and all credit in the end also to West Ham, because it was a sterling defensive effort from Kidderminster. But the pressure that West Ham put on towards the end of the normal time and towards the end of extra time, unfortunately, it's hard to get away with it.
And finally, in terms of Declan Rice, obviously he was the game changer on Saturday. When you prepare to take on a team like West Ham, do you sometimes make special preparations for facing a special player like Declan Rice?
Yes, we do it with every match we play, every team we play, because there's a Declan Rice in every team. He might not be called Declan Rice, but he's there. He might have a different playing style, but in every team there are players who are going to cause you problems. But the only way I think to really deal with that successfully over a period of time certainly is in the collective organisation of your defending, because to play man for man, unfortunately that makes the rest of your defending very, very difficult, because you lose players where you sometimes would need them to help out. And also, of course, you've got to be very fortunate if there's someone in your team who's capable of neutralising players of the quality of Declan Rice. So we know what he and Souček can do. We're very much aware of what West Ham are good at and what the problem they're going to cause us. and we'll set about trying to solve those problems collectively rather than saying to one guy, right, we can win today if you manage to put Rice out of the game in some way, because it certainly doesn't work like it did many years ago, that's for sure.
Good luck, Roy. Good to see you again.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. That's the end of the broadcast section. Unless Killian, are you asking for broadcast?
Yeah, just a quick one,
Okay.
please. Hi, Roy. You mentioned a few minutes ago when coming into a job, it's kind of too simple that results or performances are down to a lack of spirit or desire. And, you know, it probably helps that you've been in a few relegation battles to understand that. But, you know, what can you take from previous relegation battles that you've been in when trying to get Watford out of the position that they're in?
It's a good question. I don't know that I can answer it simply. I don't know that there are one or two magic formulas that you can suggest are important. I think in all management and coaching jobs, it's a question really of the relationship you're able to build with the players and your staff, and of course the people above you, to make certain that everyone is really singing off the same hymn sheet and you're all really pulling in the right direction, to change the metaphor, and to make certain that everyone is aware of the magnitude of the task, and there's no easy way of getting out of it. You can only get out of it by producing the playing performances and hoping that those playing performances will lead to results. We all know that in the long run, you can only win games if you play well, but the number of games as they get reduced, you can find yourself sometimes quite unfortunately playing well, but still not winning for a variety of reasons. So I think our resilience has got to be important. And I think that the focus of the players has got to be very, very limited, if you like, and they've got to be really encouraged at all times to believe that they have the wherewithal and the talent to get out of the situation. And the only one way to do that is to work and train properly, make certain when you go on the field, you know your jobs and you know how the team is trying to play, and then produce the performances which will hopefully show why the club brought you here in the first place.
What do you think makes you so seemingly so good at bringing it out of teams?
I don't know. I think it's dangerous to analyse yourself too much. If there's anything that I do that's good, I'm not that aware of it. And maybe if I analyse too much, I'll lose it. So I'll just try and keep doing what I've done for the last 45 years. It worked well for me in 1976 in my first job. It worked well for me in the job, which I thought possibly was going to be my last job prior to this one at Crystal Palace. Now I've lengthened it to the end of this season. I'm hoping that good fortune I've always enjoyed as a manager and coach stays with me.
Finally, just on David Moyes' West Ham, they're fighting for Europe. What have you seen of them and what has impressed you about them?
Impressed by everything. Impressed by the recruitment. Impressed by the way the team plays together as a team and uses all of their qualities in the right way. I've always been impressed by David Moyes' teams, and this one is no different. And it seems now he's found a niche for himself where everybody at the club and throughout the club, they're all pulling in the same direction, and it's given the results, because there's no doubt they are not only a difficult team to beat, they're just a good team, full stop.
Thanks, Roy.
Pleasure.
Okay, guys, we've had plenty of content already, so I'm going to respectfully ask for one question maximum each in written section now. This is embargo till 10:30.